On September 19, 2024, then Letcher County Sheriff Shawn Stines requested to have a private conversation with Letcher District Judge Kevin Mullins in his courthouse chambers. After a few minutes, Stines pulled a gun on Mullins and was accused of shooting him on video. First responders arrived on the scene to investigate, including Kentucky State Police Post 13 from Hazard. Investigators noted there were eyewitnesses in the courthouse who saw the two enter Mullins' chambers shortly before the shooting. Stines was arrested without incident and was later indicted with a single charge of murder of a public official. After the initial investigation, a court hearing was held in West Liberty, where footage of the shooting was played for the courtroom. KSP Post 13 detectives were also present to answer questions from Stines' legal counsel regarding their findings and the significance of the presented evidence. Shortly after, Stines' attorneys planned to use an insanity defense in the case, presenting expert evidence related to a mental disease or defect or mental issue bearing on the issue of guilt and punishment. This also included a defense of extreme emotional disturbance. In response to this, the prosecution requested that Stines undergo a psychiatric evaluation. At the time, Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman asked the court that Stines be transferred to the Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center for the exam to be performed in the presence of a defense expert. This exam resulted in a testimony from a KSP detective who said Stines' family members claimed he wasn't acting like himself in the days leading up to the shooting, and he had been exhibiting signs of an active state of psychosis 4 days after his arrest. This would ultimately dispel any rumors of scandals, conspiracies, or potential dangers related to Stines' wife or daughter. Amidst the evaluation period, the defense asked that the indictment against Stines be thrown out due to an alleged mishandling of the grand jury process. Firstly, defense attorneys claimed there was an initial grand jury meeting that was not recorded as required by the Kentucky Rules of Criminal Procedure. Those rules state that failure to record grand jury proceedings are grounds for dismissal of an indictment. The second reason for dismissal comes from the result of a civil case against a former sheriff's detective, which could have altered the jury's perception of the case and which charges Stines could face, if any at all. Special Judge Christopher Cohen rejected the requests for dismissal, saying the video evidence of the shooting provided probable cause for the indictment. However, the court did grant Stines' request for a bond hearing. Defense attorneys still planned on pursuing an insanity defense, which would absolve Stines of guilt. If that would fail, the defense would seek to argue an extreme emotional distress defense, possibly softening the charge from murder to manslaughter. The latest development in the case would have been from a pretrial conference originally scheduled for December 18, 2025. The court would have discussed matters related to reducing Stines' bond and potentially moving the case away from neighboring counties to avoid bias. However, the hearing was canceled on the day it was supposed to take place. This had caused some initial confusion, but a later court filing was released saying the defense had asked Cohen to recuse himself from the case, citing his relationship to Mullins. The two had attended the same meeting of the Kentucky Judicial Commission on Mental Health only a week prior to the shooting. Cohen had not disclosed this information to the parties involved, leading to an appearance of impropriety. The defense also argues that other events in the case, such as the refusal to unseal Stines' psychiatric report for an upcoming bond hearing, could also show bias. As of now, there has not been a date set for the rescheduled pretrial conference. Reporting for Mountaintop News, I'm Nick Collum.